Okay, I'm back. I got the box on the bench here, so I don't have a tripod or anything to actually unbox it while you guys watch, unfortunately, so not really set up for all that. But here it is. I'm gonna attempt to get her open and we'll see what. Yeah, I don't want to rip the box, so I better hold off on that. I'll be right back. This might be a long video, I'm not sure. I try not to make them long, keep you guys here too long, but sometimes I like to talk and, you know, kind of excited to check this one out. I've never actually had any of the 979 versions, the original, the one without the freak counter, and then this one. So this is kind of a first for me. So we'll get it out and I'll be right back. All right, typical stuff you see with a new radio. Oh wow, you got some rules here. Manual and the rules. You don't get the rules with a President radio, I don't think, unless it's in the manual. I'm not sure. But you got some rules, so you guys can say what you want about that. I guess there's still rules. Life is full of rules, so here we go. We'll get it out of there and get it set up. Oh yeah, I can always tell when it's a new radio how they always fold that. Whether it's Ranger, Galaxy, they're all made the same by the same people. This one's in Vietnam. Looks like it was made in, I think that says 10 of 19. I can't really tell through the phone, but all right, let's get it out. Well, it looks like it was 10 of 16. And I don't know if anybody knows, but Galaxy has their own service center. So if you ever buy a Galaxy radio new, I believe even if you buy it used from someone, they go by the serial number. And if you buy it used from someone, it goes off the serial number. Somehow they look it up. You get 2 years. The original purchaser gets 2-year warranty from Galaxy on a new radio. So if I were to, you know, keep this for myself and then sell it to a buddy, say a year from now, he'd still have a year warranty on it. So that's pretty cool how they do that. But they have their own service center. You go to that website, you get a hold of them, and they're out in California. You send the radio out to them, and I can't say how long it takes or anything because I've never had any issues where I had to send something out. So, but they are in-house. They do all their own warranty work. So some companies don't. Some companies outsource to various companies that do it for them, but Galaxy does their own. So here's the back of it. It looks pretty good. Side, it's got all that protective film on it. I noticed on the top it's got a couple blemishes there, but I mean, these things are, you know, made in a different country, so do they really do that? I don't know if that, whoop, I'm kind of zooming in too much. I don't know if they really care. I'm not saying they don't care when they assemble these things, but do they really treat them with care? It's really hard to say. They're made in an assembly line, so they're made in a, this one is made in Vietnam, so I guess you guys can decide that for yourself. But it looks like it's got some markings there. In Rangers, the same way. A lot of these radios with these chrome bezels, I don't know if that'll come off with some goo off or something, but you know, it's kind of what it is. But the front looks good. There's the front. It almost looks like the knobs are blue. I think that just might be from my camera. I'm not sure, but it looks like the knobs have a bluish tint to them. No, they don't. It was just the way the light from the camera. So yeah, it's a nice looking radio for sure. I like the chrome look to it. All chrome all around it. Pretty nice looking radio. So let's get it hooked up and get it going. I'll let it warm up for a few minutes and I'll come back. Okay, right, here we go. Got it hooked up. I got the dim on about half. And honestly, I mean, I don't mind the blue now that I look at it, you know, in person. If I turn it up all the way, it probably looks really washed out on the camera, but in person, I mean, it looks really good. I'm pleasantly surprised with how good it looks. I really don't mind it with that blue meter light. I think it actually looks pretty good. Especially, I think if I was in a dark room or something, or if this was out in a vehicle, I think it looks pretty good. But for the camera purpose, I'm going to try to dim it down some. I don't even know if that makes it. Yeah, I can kind of see how it, there we go. It's kind of changing depending on how I point the camera on this phone at the meter. But I'm sure you guys can understand what I'm talking about with the lighting. A lot usually happens in everybody's video when they make a video with radios with blue lighting. This is just kind of how it goes. So so far the radio seems to be okay. Frequency counter works. You only got 5 digits, so there's not a whole lot of excitement there. I mean, you don't really understand why they wanted to put a freq counter in this radio. I guess maybe as a selling feature, but I mean, honestly, it works and everything, so it's there. If you like having a freq counter, it's there for you. You got your TX RX light, turns red. Apparently, it's got a high SWR warning light. I'm not gonna really test that. There's really no need to key up without a shorted load on it. This thing probably has a MOSFET in it, so anybody that knows anything about MOSFETs, they don't like a dead short, so no sense shortening the life of it by doing that, but I'm sure it works just fine. You got your clarifier on the outside, RF power's on the inside. Let's see what it's doing. Put it in the power meter. It's showing about 4 or so on there. You got a 5-watt slug in there, so we're seeing about 3.5, somewhere in there, so about normal. They always turn them back. I think 4-watt is the maximum they're supposed to go. They always go for they always play it safe and turn them down. So if I turn the power down, let's see how low it goes. I think it probably goes pretty low. Yeah, like a 1/2 watt. I would probably turn that up to at least 1.25 watts, 1.5 watts. I think that's too low. You start sounding like you're on sideband almost, without somewhat of a carrier. But that's where they have it. I'm not sure where they tell you to set it on the service manual, but like I say, they don't put too much precision into these things when they do the alignment on them. I think they just come off an assembly line and they build them, and they're kind of how they are. I'm sure I got 2 more. If I did a video for each one, everyone would probably be a little different here, different there. So it's just kind of how it is, with these radios. They're not a high dollar radio where they put a lot of quality into the aligning part of it. So it's just kind of how it is with the CB. President, on the other hand, they seem to be really good about their alignments. I haven't had any issues with alignments with President. They're usually spot on, right out of the box, which that's why I like President so much. But not everybody likes President, so sometimes you have to broaden your horizons with Galaxy and Ranger and everybody else. So that's why we got this Galaxy here. So let's check out the talkback, see what's up with that. What we got going on. Yep, it definitely works. 1 2 3 4. I just got a regular microphone on here. 1 2 1 2 3 4. Yep, talkback works just fine. So it's a pretty compact radio. I really like how it looks with the chrome. The blue looks really good. I'm not really a fan of the blue on most radios, but on this one I think it really looks good. If I can lift this thing just enough to yeah, when I do that, you guys can kind of see how the meter, the washout of the camera goes away, and it even looks better to me than what I'm seeing through the camera. But like the Striker 955 is a popular one. It's got all that blue, and I mean, you can change the colors on it and everything, but blue seems to be the norm. Everybody likes blue, so, and this fits the bill for blue. The RX TX light's pretty darn bright. That's a pretty bright bulb there. So freq counter and the channel changer, they're not very bright. I mean, the meter's not that bright either. I got it dimmed down, so you can crank it, or you can pretty much, run it really low, almost to the point to where they shut off, but you can still see them. So, depending on what you want, you got options there. Got that starlit faceplate. I remember back when they first brought that to the market with the 95T and the 93T, I think, were the first ones to have that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's been so long. But anyhow, let's get to the output of this thing and everything else. So let me get the tone generator hooked up, and I'll be right back. Oh, before I get the tone generator, I just wanted to show you guys. I got this bench radio on sideband right now, same channel, lower sideband. I'm just using the mic. Here's the little Galaxy. 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. It's right up at 12 o'clock, so it's receiving the frequency just fine. Let's check upper. It's been on for a little while. It's warmed up. Yeah, it's a little so it's a little bit off on upper, you know, upper's like a little bit to the right, but it tunes it in just fine. You know, this one's transmitting right on, but upper might need a little adjustment. So, you know, it's typical Galaxy stuff, you know, sideband. If I was going to keep one of these, I'd probably attempt to do the clarifier mod to it, and just align it after you do the clarifier mod, and then you get, you know, a little bit of adjustability there. So some guys don't like clarifier mods and some do, so I kind of prefer them in a radio like this. I mean, you can sit here, I could go in and align this thing right to the service manual spec, and then it's going to drift, it's going to change. It's kind of like a roller coaster a little bit. These radios on sideband, they never really stabilize and stay. So, but I mean, for the price of it, you don't really expect that. And they post the spec. There's a spec in here about frequency stability and tolerance, and the radio falls well within what they spec it out as. So it's just, you know, that's just the nature of it. You know, if you're really serious into sideband, and a lot of guys, they if they're on 38 lower side doing the skip stuff and all that, most of the guys, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them are on like HF radios and stuff like that. They're really serious ones are running HF radios. So sometimes you can hear a guy out there that's on an export and it's grossly like over tuned or something, and they just sound warbled and distorted, and you know, but for them, I'm not saying everybody, but for the most part, a lot of these guys are running HF radios. So and you just can't compare the quality of an HF radio to something like this. So something to think about, you know, guys. You buy a radio like this, it's never going to perform on sideband like a radio like that, or you know, a Yaesu or a Kenwood or whatever it may be, a Linko. There's just more quality in those radios versus something like this. But I mean, these work okay, and that's why I prefer to have an open clarifier. That way, you know, you can have a little bit of adjustability to keep yourself on frequency, kind of counteract the drift. And some guys hate them, and I understand it's kind of like a debate each way. So I kind of understand each way. So enough about that. Let me get the tone generator on here, and we'll see what it's got. Okay, I got it keyed up with the tone generator on. I'm not transmitting any modulation out of it yet, but here we go. Here's a spectrum analyzer. I'm just doing a two channels. Channel 22 is on the far right, channel 20 is on the far left. That's just my AM carrier right there on channel 21, center frequency. Same output, 3.5 watts or so. That's what I'm putting in, same as always. And that is the carrier right there on the scope. Let me hit the modulation button. Let's stop that so it stops fluctuating. There you go. So I mean, it's, what is that, probably like 80 some percent, almost 90%. So it's really not that bad out of the box. It's stock radio, what it should look like. Here's the radio keyed up. Put it in the mod scale. Yeah, even the mod scale is showing like 90%. It could be about 90% really. You can adjust that once you set it to 100%. You can adjust that to show 100%. But then when you get voice, when you go to voice, it'll never reach that with your voice. So sometimes if guys want it, I just adjust it to 100% when you're talking. You know, grab your microphone and you start talking, and that way it kind of moves up towards 100%. But technically you're supposed to set it with the tone generator, and you know, but some guys want to see the needle move, some guys don't care. But I guess that's enough about the mod meter. But you know, they work, but they're not really that accurate on the radio. Here's the modulated radio right there. I guess I'll take it out and show you guys what it's got. Take it up to 60 megahertz. And do our start frequency. Let's just do 10 megahertz. There we go. Marker peak. Peak right. There we go. So there's like the second harmonic in there, like normal. Nothing too crazy there. So she's working fine. It's just the carrier right there. Nothing crazy there at all. It's way down there. So, and I'm sure you could probably crank this thing up and you start getting some splatter and stuff. I'm sure it'll go well over 100% modulation, just like a 949 will. So, but let's look at sideband now. We'll look at the dual tone, see what that looks like. All right, I just wanted to show you guys too. I'm on lower sideband right now. So it was worse when I first turned it on. The radios definitely came down. So who knows how many years it's probably been since this thing was made the last time it was turned on, because it was new in the box. So probably at least 5 years plus that it has just been sitting. So, but you know, it's on. It's definitely able to be on frequency. Right now it's not. You know, I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but it's really not that bad. Just a minor adjustment would get it a lot closer. When I first powered it on, it was like at 300 some odd hertz high. So right now it's doing pretty good. It's probably just a minor adjustment in there on the tuning coil to get it in, but it's definitely stabilized, I think, around here. Let's do upper. And that's why I say that open clarifier helps, because I mean, you can I can align it to this radio, but as soon as I take the covers off this thing, it's going to change. It's just the nature of the beast with these radios. And so I can let it warm up and stabilize with the cover off of it, align it perfectly to this radio, and as soon as I put the cover on and wait 5-10 minutes, it's going to change a little bit. It's just how these radios are designed. So that's why I like an open clarifier, because you can kind of counteract the change in the frequency. So here's upper. Well, it's definitely different on upper, so I'm not sure if I can do this with the phone on my hand too, so hang on. Okay, so we got upper. That's about 92 hertz low, so it's not that bad really. These things are so sensitive to frequency, these 7300s, and they're spot on too. That's the good thing about them. They are rock solid on frequency radio. So that's why I think you see a lot of hams that, you know, are running these. They go down to 38 lower sideband and they skip on 38 lower sideband, because contrary to what some believe, hams still use CB, and you hear a lot of guys saying, I'm on a 7300 or a Yaesu this and that, or a Kenwood. So it's just kind of what it is. Most guys got their license, they started in CB, they still got like an IMAX or an Antron or whatever it may be for an antenna, and it works for 10 meters CB. So they go down and, you know, they use their ham stuff on CB, and it's just kind of the way it is. But yeah, this thing is, you know, it's pretty, it sounds good on sideband, so, you know, it does sound good. So it's got that going for it. Just needs a little bit of an adjustment. So kind of expected that. I wasn't really too surprised. So let me get the dual tone going and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got the dual tone going. RF power's up all the way, mic gain's up all the way. Let's see, here is the spectrum analyzer with the dual tone going, so it's nothing really crazy or anything there. It's doing what it should. Here's the watt meter. I had to put a 10 watt slug in there because it was doing more than 5. It was slapping my 5. This is it peak? I don't think it really makes a difference right now, but here's peak. It really didn't make much of a difference, so it's like 9 watts, somewhere in there. Here's the scope. It doesn't look very good on the scope, so it needs some adjustment. It needs an alignment. Those should be rounded. They shouldn't be all distorted like that. So let me make it smaller. Whoop, that just sped it up. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, it should be rounded. They should be nice round. Not like that. That's kind of distorted. So it's kind of typical. It's easily fixed. I'll end up fixing it, but right now this is the dual tone I put in. I believe that's kind of the standard dual tone that you use for sideband, at least what I use. Maybe someone else uses something different, but that's my dual tone, and you can see both outputs are on. So it's not really looking too great. I would say that's kind of like somebody went in, and a lot of times you see that guys don't know what they're doing when they're trying to tune a sideband transceiver, and they just crank the ALC wide open and look for the highest output watts. Well, as we can see, it's not doing that many watts, so something is arise there. So it's got a couple different adjustments for sideband, so we'll take a look at it. It's getting kind of hot. I'm not too worried about that. There's the power meter. It's showing, yeah, it's showing like 14 watts, and it's definitely not doing that. So, no, mod meters don't work on sideband. So, yeah, just typical stuff with radios. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll pop the cover and take a look in there real quick on camera. While I got this video rolling, might as well. So let me do that, and I'll be back. Alright, you guys, here's what I mean. I had this thing with the cover on. The temperature was still changing in the radio even with the cover on. It was locked in on lower sideband right at that hertz. But now it changed. I mean, it didn't change a lot, but you know, that's what I'm saying. When you take the cover off, it changes. So, but there's the board. So, got a big 25 volt cap over there for some reason. I haven't seen it's a freak counter. A lot smaller freak counter board than what's in a 959. So, alright, I'll try to adjust the sideband, and maybe I'll touch up the AM mod, and maybe I'll try to align the frequency really quick, and we'll be back. Yeah, there you go. There's lower sideband touched up right there. That's good. It doesn't take much. Alright, here's upper sideband. That's good now too. Like I say, I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to do that. I mean, it's just they got a good reference radio that's on frequency, and that's really all you need to align it. I mean, you can try to use a frequency counter. I guess that's the proper way to do it, but I mean, it's a lot easier just to take a radio that you know is on frequency and just align it, at least for me anyways. 1 2 3, check check, and it sounds good with this stock mic. So let me look at the waveform, why it's messed up, and I'll come back and try to show you guys it's better. Okay, I got it straightened out on sideband. I think it's in the power setting still, so it's right around 12 watts. We're in a 25 watt slug right now. The peak kit's on. So we're right at about 12 watts where it should be. And that's the scope pattern, nice and rounded. Can make it bigger. So that's about how it should look. It's the same dual tone going in. So that's squared away. I'm going to check out AM. Okay, I had to go upstairs for a minute because the dogs were barking like crazy. The kids were coming home from school. Not my kid, he's not old enough yet for school, but the neighbor kid, so. Geez, oh Pete's. So here we go, we got the frequency aligned on lower sideband, and here's the output now. The PEP is on. Hello radio, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello radio. So it's like 16 watts or so. That's what you got. Let's check upper. Here's upper right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same output. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check. So that's good. Now I'm going to look at AM. So it's coming along pretty good. Okay, so I'm doing AM right now. It says 1 watt all the way down and 4 watts all the way up. So 1 watt's all the way down. And just a hair over 4 all the way up. And just a hair over 1 all the way up. So that worked out pretty good. I think you need to set the RF meter now. So, yep. So let me do that. Let's see where it's at right now. Yeah, it's pretty darn close. So let's check that out. Okay, I think I got the camera on there so everybody can see it. There's 4 watts on the RF meter. Let's see what it does when you turn it all the way down. I doubt it'll go right to the 1. Nah, it's like 1.5 or something. So they're not real accurate. So, but you know, you attempt to make it somewhat. 4 watts is 4 watts, right? All right, this is out of the box. This is what the waveform looks like out of the box. That's the carrier. That's not really that bad. Let's see if I can improve it a little bit, but it's not bad at all. So, be right back. Okay, guys, and just for reference, this is not what you want to see. This is cranked. Yep, that is not good. So let me correct that. I just wanted to show you guys what happens when you crank the AM mod pod up all the way. Let's put a different watt meter slug in here too, just to see. This kind of goes back to that other video I made with the fake power. I don't like to do this very long. It's not good for the radio, but yeah, she's almost pegging the 25 watt mark, so, you know, but it's all fake power. So, it's not real power at all. Well, let me get off that, and, whoop, and I'll fix it. Right about there is probably the max I set it. There's the carrier. Here's the same setup, the tone. Dog's coming back down here now. Guess he's done barking at everybody. Hey, doggy. So, he's done barking at the neighbors. I'm gonna probably take him for a walk before the day is over. He's ready for one. But yeah, there you go. And then the output. 25 watt slug, I'm in peak. So at the tone, it's like 15 watts or so. Any hotter, it starts to pinch a little bit, and I don't want to set it any hotter, so. Let's look at the mod meter. Yeah, so we're way over now, so I can adjust that back, and I'll do that, and I'll be right back. I hope you guys can see that. There's the mod meter set to 100%. So, with that, I think the radio should be good to go. I'll test it out upstairs with my shack with the receive, and pretty much I think it's good to go. So let me put the cover on and my final thoughts on it. Okay, I had to do another quick frequency alignment because it's just been sitting for a while. But, you know, like I say, it changes a little bit, you know. It's not ever going to be as stable as a radio like this, but here's lower side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's, what the heck time is it? It's almost 4 p.m. It's February the 25th, 2021. So it's good. Okay, a low upper side. Yeah, here's upper side. It's February the 25th, 2021. It's almost like 4 p.m. Here's the output. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check, check. And then here's AM. AM's not really a big deal, but there it is, right on the line there, 205. Here's the audio on AM too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It does a little more power with voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Check, check. 1, 2. So it does pretty good with voice with the stock mic. And that was with that 100% modulation. So it always does a little more on voice. Not a lot, but just a little bit more. And it sounds really good with this stock mic. I mean, it really does sound good. Here is the mod meter. Like I say, hello radio, check, check, 1, 2. So like you can adjust it, I guess, when you're talking to have it actually show more mod, but you know, I set it for the tone generator, so it can be adjusted if you know, somebody wants it to show more mod. It's not a big deal, but I like to have it with the tone generator. It's kind of a useless meter. They're not really accurate anyways, because I set it to be accurate, but then with voice it's not. So if that means anything to someone, I mean, it kind of does at times, you know, like that, but you know, it's kind of just a relative thing. Some guys probably don't even care. They'd put it in SWR. Like if I were to keep this radio, it would just stay in SWR the whole time. That way, you know, SWR to me is more important. I know the radio is doing good because it was put on the scope and set up right, so there's no need to look at a mod meter, but I would leave it on SWR. That's more important to me. Okay, here it is on the spectrum analyzer. Once I'm done, while I'm all done, I got it cover back on it and everything. Same thing with the tone generator. There's a scope. Let's turn it on. That's 215 to the right, that's 195 to the left. So you can see all the power's going out on frequency, and it's not bleeding. So it's not a bleed box radio whatsoever. So, and you can, let's see, we can span it to like 450 kilohertz. Now it's like 430 over here and 980 over here. So you guys can still see all the power's going out. It's to 1 megahertz. Same thing. 705, 705 over there. 26705. So let's go out to 60 megahertz. A little bit of the second in there, but that's it. Start frequency is 0, so it always